Thank you so much for joining me here at the Live Desk. My name is Janae Hancock. As you all know, we are counting down to the big matchup between the Chiefs and the Bills this upcoming weekend. A lot of eyes are going to be on that game, and of course, you can catch it right here on KCTV5. But with that being said, I do want to turn things over to a very cold. You're taking a look at Neal Jones. He is live in New York right now, and Neal, I see it is coming down behind you. Is this what fans can expect, especially Chiefs Kingdom, if they plan to make it to the game this weekend?
Well, we had been told it would be much better weather than in Kansas City, and it is warmer. The humidity's higher, so it feels a lot better than it did in Kansas City on Saturday when the Chiefs played, and the days after that when all of us were out there getting frostbite at Arrowhead Stadium during that big win over the Miami Dolphins. Well, guess what? While it is warmer, the weather is much worse. They did not see this band of snow that hit Buffalo this morning. I landed about an hour ago, and they said they might not allow you to rent a car and drive it to certain areas because they have do not drive warnings that have been in effect the last couple of days because the roads have been so packed. I got in the car, drove over here to my hotel, and I couldn't believe they've already almost had a foot of snow today. So I think fans need to be aware of this. We were told it would be cold but clear, and it would be about 20 degrees on game day, and it might be 20 degrees, but it's not clear. And we heard, oh boy, they really know how to handle snow here in Buffalo. Everybody at the airport who lives in Buffalo, the people at the rental car counter and the people at the airline were like, no, the roads are terrible, and they are terrible. The other thing I learned on the way over here is they drive just as bad in the snow up here as we do in Kansas City. I mean, I'm behind a car, Janae, on the interstate that's doing about 18 miles an hour. I get up behind it, and it's a Canadian. You'd think Canadians would know how to drive in the snow. They were going slow. I was doing the typical Kansas thing, weaving out of control in an oversized SUV, so I was fine. You know, it was just like being at home, only this time people don't know me, so they can't call the station and complain.
And cannot call the station and complain. I think that's going to be our biggest takeaway. We are going to quote you on that. But again, going back to this cold weather, I can see you out there shivering, and we talk about Chiefs fans making their way there. So again, they need to bundle up, and I know last weekend here in Kansas City, we had a lot of people going to the hospital due to the cold weather.
Yeah, you know, it's really remarkable. I had a touch of frostbite from doing the post-game show on two of my fingers in my left hand. I had to have my wedding ring cut off. It was real dramatic. People at Overland Park Regional Emergency Room were fabulous, but one of the people outside there who works for the hospital, this is not an official spokesman, by the way, but he said, oh, yeah, all over town, hospitals are being inundated with people with various degrees of frostbite or really bad respiratory infections. That's what happens when you get 50,000 plus people out in that kind of weather. Even if you dress right, and I was dressed right, but I took my glove off for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes during a live shot, and it kind of fell away, and I didn't put it on right away, and that's all it takes is something like that. It does feel a lot warmer here and a lot less wind, but I think that the Chiefs fans need to be aware of this, and what worries me is if they whiffed so badly on today's forecast, what happens if they whiff on the weekend? This would not benefit the Kansas City Chiefs if the game on Sunday night, which as you mentioned, you can see on KCTV5, if that game is played in these kind of conditions, I don't think it helps the Chiefs very much at all.
Neal, you said you had to get your wedding ring cut off. I'm sorry, I just cannot just blow right past that because I didn't know that, but that is insane. Really fast, let's talk about the Chiefs playing in these conditions. Let's really break down this game and speak a little bit more about KCTV5 Sports, your coverage there. You are going to be out there as well as Scott Reese. What can we expect from these players as well as your coverage there?
Well, I think it's going to be a great game. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to go to the Chiefs interview session with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and a couple of guys, including Drew Tranquill, in the locker room. And it was interesting to hear what they said. And one of the questions I talked to them about was, will playing what you played in on Saturday night against the Dolphins, the fourth coldest temperature for an NFL game in the long history of the NFL, will that benefit you going to Buffalo? And that's a story we're going to get into to hear their response to that that. It was very, very interesting. I didn't even ask Andy Reid because Andy Reid's attitude is we're not even going to talk about the weather. We can't control it, so we're not going to worry about it. But the players do worry about it, and they had a really interesting response, and we'll have that coming up tonight on KCTV5 News at 4, 5, and on KC Sports Tonight at 6:30 with live reports from here in Buffalo.
Perfect.
Jay, I should tell you this. I've been calling for 2 days trying to get a hold of a couple of the bars here in town that kind of are big with Bills and big with the Chiefs, and nobody's picked up. Well, today I found out it's because phone lines have been down all over Buffalo for 3 or 4 days since that, or 5 days since that inundated snowstorm that caused them to cancel the game or move back, to delay the game. It was supposed to be played on Sunday. They had to move it to Monday. That snowstorm was so bad that much of the city, they don't have phone service, landline service. So you're trying to call around and make reservations or find out if places are open. It makes it tough.
Yeah, so it looks like a lot of people might be watching the game inside of their homes, or maybe they have some friends out there or their hotel rooms. That's what it looks like, unless they're going to the game. Neal, I want to thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. And like you said, the coverage will continue. You can tune in later on this evening to hear again from Neal, as well as Scott Reese will be joining him later on this weekend as well. So again, if you want to watch the game, you can tune in to KCTV5. We'll have that live coverage, and we'll have all of the latest updates coming in with Jared Kohler as well. I'm going to leave you all with this video we have looking ahead to the Chiefs and Bills game on Sunday.